You was like right here. I walked past you. What the hell was that? And you was the only person there. Okay, you definitely gave me that chill down my spine. So that was a red flag. I don't know how you did that, but you did. So check it out, check it out, check it out. All right. I wrote this. It's very short, but I feel like it's some real, shit in here. So here we go. They say that they love me, but constantly hating. I guess I have to show them again. I teach them my ways, but they don't want to listen, man. Fuck it, then do it yourself. I tried to warn you, I gave you the signs, but you don't want to listen to me. You just don't come back to me when your shit start breaking apart. Girl, I'm back on my grind and I don't have the time. I just hope you don't take it personally. You talk all the shit behind my back, but in person you're as quiet as a bat. Man, what kind of shit is that? I thought we were men and not fucking boys, let alone little ass kids. I'll tell you right now, I'm not one of your mans, so you can come catch these hands. Hey! Rate that on on a scale from 1 to 10. 10 being, hey, that joint was fire, that joint was flames, right? That was just like straight off the yeah. So, I just wrote that down real fast, you know. But without further ado, right? Hopefully you got your snacks. I got my stomach is kinda yeah. It's kinda right? It's kinda my stomach is like, and that's probably because today I ate, well, earlier I ate a chicken tender sub from Publix along with cinnamon toast crunch with some milk, 2% milk. Gotta say, I don't think those two go together. I don't think you should be eating those simultaneously, like at once. Cinnamon toast crunch and a chicken tender sub. No, nah. So I've been farting, shitting all day, and it's not gonna stop. So, just saying. I don't know why. I be eating whatever I see. Pause. Yeah, man. So I would have had my snacks, but like I'm not like I don't want to mess up my stomach more than what it already, you know. So, but hopefully you got your snacks and cut it, buddy. It's been a minute since I did Let's Read channel videos. Did I already say something? Cluck it. Sup? Though. You might hear me. You might hear some farts. Just disclaimer.
I'd like to share with you a series of horrific events from my childhood that we never had a real resolution to.
Yo, I miss his videos, low key. I miss his voice. Pause. You ever You ever see someone, hear some yeah? You ever either see someone, see something, hear someone, or see something or feel or whatever that, I don't know, like as soon as I heard his voice, it took me back to it just took me back. So it was nice. I don't know how to explain it, but as soon as I heard his voice again, it was like, I miss this. I miss his voice. I miss his videos. Yeah.
There were some suspects, but no one was ever brought to justice. There have been a lot of terrible things happen on my mom's property, and that's another story, but here's part of the beginning.
Thank you.
This part of the story happened roughly around 1990 during my summer break from school, but I continued on for quite some time. I must have been about second or third grade age. I grew up with just my mom, and my dad was never in the picture, so we lived alone until I was about 12, and she remarried. Our secluded country neighborhood was safe for the most part, and all of our immediate neighbors were elderly,
Okay.
save for one couple who had a few young adult sons around my brother's age.
Oh, look. All I'm saying is you clucking up because just because they old, just because they elderly, don't mean they can't be some creepy weird mother cluckers. I know some weird, I know some, some creepy old mother cluckers. Like, just because they old don't always mean, they up to no good. They sweet, harmless. Ah, no. Sometimes the old people be the worst ones. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, and I feel like this is going to be like a chill video, so I just want to let y'all know. This is probably not going to be like hyped up. So, yeah, we're just going to chill out in this whole video. We're just going to chill. Okay? All right.
For the most part, though, didn't have much riffraff in the area. At first, there were only minor clues to indicate something was going on, such as things being moved in the backyard, and I guess because my mother has always been a paranoid conspiracy theorist, she had an idea that something was happening. I didn't really know this until I heard her talking about it much later after the events. She tried to hide things so they wouldn't scare me. She even started sleeping in my room with me at night, probably because she was paranoid, but I assumed it was because we could stay up late and watch movies together and eat snacks. One morning after I got up, I noticed that our wooden back door had huge chunks missing out of it around the part where the lock and bolt goes into the door frame.
No.
It was as if someone was trying to chip away at the locked part. I showed my mom what I had discovered, not realizing why the door was damaged, and she went completely silent, pale-faced, and panicked. I could tell something was wrong, but I was too young to understand that someone had apparently tried to break in, either in the night or when we were out. That day, she mended the door to the best of her ability, and if I remember correctly, she even put a new and different lock on it from the hardware store. She also filed a police report, but there was nothing they could do. I had a German shepherd named Munchie. He was a big spoiled baby who loved raiding the fridge with me, but to a stranger, he was probably very intimidating. He was my best friend and very watchful over me, and I still miss him to this day. For a week or two after Mom and I would go to bed, Munchie would start pacing and whining and acting very anxious. Since we lived in such a rural place with no imminent danger, we thought, Mom would frequently let him outside by himself. So one night, when he was acting exceptionally strange, she let him outside alone. We didn't have central air because...
Hey, all I'm saying is if I was the dog in that situation, right, and I know something is in the air, I feel like because of my sixth sense, because I'm a dog and I have a sixth sense, there we go. I know I can sense the red flags. Well before y'all two mother cluckers know anything about them. So me going back and forth, me whining, that's because something is weird, something is off, something is about to happen, and you want me to go outside. You want me to go outside. You open the door, thinking, trust. If you open this door, two things are going to happen. Either you open that door, and I'm zooming out. You feel me? Or you open that door, and I'm looking at you crazy like, bitch, you better close that door. I'm not staying in here. Either way, you're not letting this You're not letting whatever. You're not letting. All I'm saying is, if shit pop off, I'm not gonna be here. I'm not. And by the time you realize you're in a clutch up situation, I'm already in Kentucky, bitch. Did I say that right? In Kentucky. There we go. You not leaving just because I'm a dog don't mean you get to treat me anyway. Like I'm no. Okay? So either you open that door and I'm running out and I'm never looking back, or you close that door and lock all doors, vents and windows, and doors. We not playing this game tonight or any other night. I don't know why you started tonight with this bullshit.
So our house was old, built in the 50s.
Wow.
We were poor, and Kentucky summers weren't really too hot anyway. At night, Mom would open up all the windows in the house, with the halfway burglar latch, of course. Since she was in my room with me watching a movie, we had both my bedroom windows all the way up.
What?
My back window overlooked a bit of a hill, which gradually sloped into a low, wide bottom. The bottom was full of tall weeds and bushes. Suddenly we heard movement in the brush at the bottom.
No, you didn't.
Munchie. Then we heard him snarling like a werewolf.
Oh, damn.
Mom got up and ran to the window, but couldn't see anything.
Damn.
What we heard next was horrifying. It sounded as if the Munchie was attacking someone.
Oh my god.
He was making those awful noises as though he was eating someone alive.
Oh my god.
I began to cry, terrified that something would happen to my best friend, and my mom started screaming in horror for Munchie to come home. We heard what sounded like someone escaped my dog's wrath and take off through the bush. Mom ran to the back door with me right behind her and called for Munchie at the top of her lungs until he came running back into the house. He was panting and grunting and bristled up. I hugged him so tight, I probably nearly squeezed the life out of him. As time progressed, things got worse. Being so young, I didn't know for how long, but my mom was safeguarding the house. She even moved a tall dresser in front of my window that overlooked the hill in the bottom. She tried her best, but whoever was harassing us was finding new ways to make our life terrible. Or maybe even worse. One night, she said she heard peculiar noises coming from the backyard. I don't necessarily remember this, so I called her for details before writing this. The sounds were coming from under the dining room windows, which overlooked the backyard. She turned on the security lights on the back of the house and saw a ladder propped up against the back of our house.
Oh my god.
Someone was trying to climb through our windows. This incident seemed more like an empty threat than a real attempt, especially considering the back door was probably easier access. We don't know if the person thought the windows would be unlocked or what, but for whatever reason, they gave it a try. Again, she called our local police and they did nothing. I should probably note that we really didn't have much law enforcement there. You probably wouldn't believe me if I tried to tell you how worthless law enforcement was and still is in that area. On another occasion, and this memory is burned into my brain because it scared me so bad, someone snuck up to my bedroom window one night. I hate to even think what their intentions might have been. Mom had drifted off to sleep, but I was quietly watching the rest of Willy Wonka. I was looking in the direction of my ominous window.
You need to really your way out the goddamn house, bitch. That's probably one of my, I'm not gonna say biggest fears, but it's definitely a fear of mine. You know, like I'm in the comfort of my own room, my own house, and I just nonchalantly look outside. There's a black silhouette of a person just standing right there. Like, if I see that off bucks, I'm fainting. Yeah, I'm fainting, and then I'll probably just die. You know, and then my soul will come out and just start hauling ass right to heaven. That's all I'm saying. You know, there are certain things in life that would scare you so bad or like scare you so fast that you don't really have time to react, and you just faint right then and there, or you die, or you just like, yo, how would y'all react if one day you was walking and you nonchalantly, randomly look behind you just because, not because you heard anything, just because you turned around and Jason was behind you, Jason Voorhees with the mask? What would you do? Would you run, or would you already be like dead on the floor because your heart just skipped much more, much more heartbeats than it already should have? If I ever turn around and Jason is right behind me, I'm dying. My soul dying. My soul is dying. And then I don't know. I just don't know what after that. Like, Jason is a scary ass motherfucker, yep.
One overlooking the bottom, so I ended up getting a good look at this big white hand which reached up and slapped my window screen multiple times in rapid succession. I screamed. Mom woke up and the tormentor took off, no doubt through the brushy bottom. My mom is a dog person. She adores dogs, and has always had lots of dogs and puppies around. We had 7 little black pups and the mother dog around this time, and they lived outside on our huge property, had plenty of space to play, and a nice big doghouse. At some point around the same time this stuff was happening, we had to be out of town for a few days. Mom had some people watching the house, and I guess she didn't really think anything horrendous would happen. Then again, she wasn't aware of how far this thing would go. When we came home, Mom's puppies had been killed and lined up in a row in the side yard, close to my window that overlooked the bottom. This was devastating. The police did little to help, which included telling her how short to saw off her shotgun so that it was still legal, and advising us to keep munching in the house. I forgot to ask, but I'm nearly positive Mom ended up sending the mommy dog away to my sister's house on the other side of town. Months later, incidents were increasing in occurrence, and then someone decided to take it way too far. Something hit the back of the house in the wee hours of the morning. Mom looked out the windows and saw nothing, at least not until the next morning. She found a stick with a charred pine knot on it. Someone had apparently lit it on fire and threw it at our house.
Wow.
I assume they were hoping our house would burn, and I don't even ask the cops about it because they did nothing yet again. I wouldn't be surprised if they knew who the culprit was and didn't care. Then one day, Munchie went missing. He had gone out to the bathroom in the evening before bed, but he didn't come back immediately like always. He vanished. I don't even want to go into detail about this because it breaks...
You got a lot going on. In a couple of minutes, like, you have a lot going on. Why didn't you move yet? Why didn't you just find like a hotel or something, like a 5-star hotel or something? Like, why are you still there, man? Like, it's like it's stuff happening to you 24/7. You need to get the hell up out of there before you end up really clucked. Your cops suck. God. Go to move to I don't know, Australia or something. I don't know. I don't even know why I said Australia, but 24/7. It's like back to back, 360. God.
Heart all over again, but we found him days later. He had been poisoned. To be completely honest, I could keep going with the story, although it takes a lot of unbelievable turns, and not all of them are horrifying. Some are just ridiculous. Around 2009, a multiple year-long court case began where my mom had to fight a group of her neighbors in court to keep them from stealing her property. Those events led us to believe the people involved with that case may have had something to do with the torment we experienced all those years ago. But honestly, all we can do is assume. To the tormentor, I wish we could meet you, but you're a coward who harasses women and children and hurts animals.
I wish I'd never meet you ever. Oh my God, what was that? Come on, yo, like on this.
I recently made a summer road trip to a neighboring major city with my mom and my sister. The last day there, I had an unnerving experience. I had been downstairs eating the hotel breakfast with my mom while my sister was still in the room getting ready. When I finished eating, I started walking down the hallway towards the elevator to go back to the room.
Okay.
When I first started down the hallway, I saw in my peripheral vision a man standing in the doorway to the fitness center.
Okay, speed the hell
I
up.
noticed him because he had been looking at his phone, but when I walked by, he looked up at me. I'm about 6'2" in my heels, so honestly, I didn't think much of it.
I would've.
I get stared at a lot. I didn't make eye contact. I got to the elevator and pressed the button, and while I was waiting, the man walked up and stood next to me. I still didn't think it was weird. He had a small towel with him, so I figured he just got finished working out and was returning to his room.
Oh my God.
But after just a few seconds, he looked up at me and said, in a very quiet voice that was almost a whisper, "I'm scared."
Oh.
I smiled and kind of chuckled and said, "Why?" Where I'm from, it's not uncommon for men, especially older men, to joke around with a straight face and try to pull your leg. I figured he had some funny story coming about why he's scared of elevators. He didn't. He continued to speak in an extremely quiet voice so that I could barely hear him, but he spoke quickly and was articulating well, so not drunk, I would presume. What he was saying was odd. He said, "They're attacking me. They're putting it all over social media in its attack on my character. They're trying to bring me down. It's making me look bad. I gotta defend myself because they're going after me, trying to bring me down." He didn't specify who they were from what I could hear. He had already spoken a bit when the elevator opened up, but I decided to get in anyway. I didn't fully comprehend what was happening. It was so odd. I just didn't feel scared yet, only confused. Plus, he was significantly smaller than me, and I keep pepper spray on me at all times.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, sorry. I have to go. Yeah, no, I got that for you. Thank you. See ya. Deuces. Pieces. Vamonos. Sorry. I can't do it. Can't do it anymore. Who starts off a conversation like that?
I'm scared.
Had that. If somebody ever comes to you and comes to you and they don't say hi or hey or how you doing, their first words are, and they meet you for the first time.
I'm scared.
That's the first words they say.
I'm scared.
Well, I bet you better be scared too. Like, we both gonna be scared. We both gonna be scared, little bitch. And low key, I don't like elevators. Just saying. You know. And part of that is due to, like, y'all remember that movie called Devil with a director named M. Night Shyamalan? I don't know how to say his last name, but I think he made a movie called Devil, and it was the whole, like, the whole thing was like shot mainly in the elevator, or like the Final Destination movies. Like those movies just got me creeped about everything. But like I low key don't like elevators. Just saying. I'm perfectly fine with some steps, with some stairs. But yeah. Anybody come to you and says, and only thing they say is, I'm scared. Hey. Well, I guess we both gonna be scared little bitches then. Oh, one other thing. Yeah. The second you said, I'm scared, you was already talking to my after image bitch.
I realize that's an unwise mindset, but it gave me a sense of security,
Really?
even if a false one.
Really?
The elevator only had to go up 3 floors, so it wasn't a long ride, but he carried on the same way the whole time, speaking quickly and urgently, telling me about someone or something that is trying to take him down.
Okay.
It was during the ride that I realized this man could potentially be dangerous. I also noticed that he didn't seem concerned about what button I pressed, as if he didn't need to make sure I pushed the button for his floor. I thought about asking him which floor he needed just to test him, but decided not to interrupt his rant. As he proceeded to talk, and it became clear what was happening, I stopped looking at him. I turned to the elevator door and ignored him completely. When it opened on my floor, I walked out, and then slowly took the turn for my room. I went slowly to see if he would go the other way. He didn't. He followed me down the long hallway to my room at the very end.
Stop.
Since I knew my sister...
Just stop. Okay? Like you doing too much. Like for real. Like on the elevator. No, matter of fact, let's take it back. Take it back. I'm tired. So like all of my energy is like basically gone. So like my words, they may whatever. So I just want to say I want to take it back to when I first met you, kind of. Not really, because I didn't give you no eye contact in the hallway, but I did notice you, kind of, in the hallway. And when I walked past you, I got like a little chill down my spine. You know, I was walking. I was like, you was like right here. I walked past you. Hell was that? And you was the only person there. Okay, you definitely gave me that chill down my spine. So that was a red flag. I don't know how you did that, but you did. Second, you went on the same elevator as me. And first words were, you ever said to me was, I'm scared. Okay, that added about that added about 47 red flags right there. Then, right, you like mad close. I have personal space, please. Back the hell up off me. Back up, just back up. Okay, that's all you gotta do. Just back up on them. Right. Third, I get off the elevator, and you right behind me. Okay. Okay, God, I hope you're wearing a cup right now, cause I'm about to do a cup check. Just saying. Oh man, I walked past you, and I got some chills going down my spine. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. And he's potentially dangerous. So don't bring whatever you got going on to me. I don't want to be in the middle of that. I don't. I'm just here just because. Where the hell you even come from? God.
In the room, I still felt a bit of security, but I didn't want to give away which room we were in, even though we were about to check out. I figured if I opened the door, he might have shoved his way in or something. So, I walked past our room a little into the stairwell doorway. I didn't go in, just stood there and looked around as if though I was trying to decide where to go. He was immediately behind me, and when I stopped walking, he started up his rant again, still in a very quiet voice. This was the point at which my heart started racing. I turned around and looked at him once, then turned the other way and looked out a window, at my phone, at the stairs, just ignoring him while he was talking. After just a minute or so of me ignoring him, he gave an exasperated sigh and stormed off. He was angry. He interrupted his walking to stomp a few times and shake his head. His speaking changed from the quiet, almost whisper to angry grunts, although still quiet. I watched him walk away, and when he was out of sight, I went into our room and told my sister, "Get your stuff together, now, like your life depends on it."
There you
because
go.
it might. Maybe overly dramatic, but I was afraid he'd come back, maybe with worse intentions. I told her briefly what happened, and she told me to call the front desk while she threw her things together. I called and gave a detailed description of the man.
I wouldn't have done all that. Just saying. You know. And you wasn't over, I don't know what you said. You wasn't like being dramatic. You wasn't being over dramatic about what you said. You know? If I was in your situation, I would have said, yo, if I was with somebody at that time, you know, if I was with like my sister or like if I was with my girl or whoever, right? And I was in your situation and I came into the room and I said, I would have been very affirmative. I would have been very firm. I would have been very straightforward. I would have been like, yo, there's a creepy mother clucker in this building. He's following me. And his very first words were,
I'm scared.
I almost forgot. I don't know how I forgot about that. Yeah, his very first words to me was,
I'm scared.
and I got chills going down my spine. So, I mean, and that's coming all from him. So, yeah, I'm gonna need you to grab your stuff. Go ahead and throw in a couple of those, hotel, what's it? Towel. Go ahead and throw some of those hotel towels, the toothpaste, the lotion, the body washes, right? The rags, you know. Yeah. Cause I know some of y'all be stealing from hotels. Cause I do it. I do it sometimes, low key. Especially them towels. Oh man, those some good towels right there. But I would say, grab all that, hurry up, within 2 seconds, and we out of here. I wouldn't even told the people at the front desk nothing. I would have let them figure it out on their own, unless they was in cahoots. But either way, if they was in cahoots or not, I'm still hauling ass out the door, not saying nothing whatsoever. I'll leave a review on your website or like Yelp or something. But say like I'll leave like a review or a comment saying help. But help really means heading ex-
Receptionist was very concerned and said she'd look for him. We left our room and got downstairs without any more events. The receptionist again assured me that they would try to find him. I checked out and got out of there. I just have one question from the whole experience. Out of all the people in the hotel, why did he pick me to follow?
Cause you know what? Don't even answer that. Just go on about your business. Go on about your life.
I'm a 30-year-old male in a middle-upper-class suburban neighborhood on the east coast of the USA.
Okay.
I went to visit family that I don't get to see very often yesterday. I enjoyed their company and the day spent with them. When it was time to leave, I got in a car with two individuals and started the trip back home. A few minutes down the road, I got into an argument with the driver and got kicked out of the car. I am vaguely familiar with part of this area that I was in, but in the darkness, with only scattered streetlights illuminating the wide roads, I was disoriented. I began walking in the direction I thought I saw the car I got kicked out of headed towards, and stopped at a well-lit intersection. I stood there, smartphone out, trying to call a Lyft to drive me home and put an end to the unfortunate situation I put myself in. It wouldn't be that easy, as both my Wi-Fi and mobile data refused to work, and I could not get either a signal or internet in the location I was in. As I was standing on the edge of the intersection, I looked ahead, about 200 feet, and noticed two white males, one wearing a white wife-beater tank top, and the other in a t-shirt, becoming aware of my presence. They saw me and began their approach.
No.
About 50 feet ahead, they began saying things like, "Did you see that car?
Too close.
Are you a cop?"
Too close.
My self-talk was telling me that these guys were looking for a fight, but I tried to defuse the situation by informing them that, no, I am not a cop, and that I didn't know that car they were talking about. They continued approaching me until they were less than 5 feet away.
Whoa!
After listening to them, I began to believe that they were on some type of drug, because they repeatedly asked me the same questions about the car and if I was a cop. They also told me that they could give me a ride and offered me prescription drugs. The way he offered to give me a ride was disturbing, like he was trying to lure me into a trap. Again, I tell them I was just trying to get home and I didn't want any trouble. After I said this, the situation escalated when they began making sexual comments, asking me if I wanted a hug, and telling me one of them was an offender. I contemplated fighting them off if they got too close, but after I again repeated that I was just trying to get home, they turned around and left me alone. Thinking I was done with these guys, I again was unsuccessful at calling a Lyft, when they turned around and started yelling at me again and walked back towards me. By then, I had called a friend who told me to call the cops. The guy kept approaching, asking if I was talking to the cops, telling me I was far away from home, and I started to think about screaming for help. I realized that's not a manly reaction, but I considered it. My bad leg was tired from all the walking, and I was getting desperate. By this point, one of the guys screamed that I better not call the cops on them, because he saw my face and he can recognize me now. After I created some distance between myself and the two, I called 911 and spoke to a dispatcher. By the time I started explaining what happened, a cop pulled up in front of me, and I told him what was going on. I know that because of my actions, I put myself in the position where I was accosted by a couple of creeps, but I never would have thought that something like this would happen in that neighborhood. The police officer was very friendly and helped me get in touch with a ride home. I am still flustered, and I'm hoping this leads to some kind of catharsis and helps me to process what just happened.
What? Catharsis? ISIS? What is that? Catharsis? What is that?
I live in Germany and went out with a few friends to say goodbye because I am moving back home next week.
Right.
For privacy reasons, I will only say that I am from an English-speaking country. Also, in case you are not aware, a U-Bahn is pretty much a subway, so an underground train. I was out and decided to go home at about 2:30 a.m. I went home alone because I didn't want to go and meet up with a few people I wasn't really good friends with instead.
Well, you look at that. You decided to go alone around 2:30 in the morning. Well, it seems like you about to be real close with some see-through friends. With some friends that be floating on that. Why you going at prime time paranormal time? No. Sorry about that. I forgot to put my phone on airplane mode. But yeah, I feel like I'm not gonna say everybody or like the majority of the population, but I feel like a good amount of people know 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, 1:30, like in between there. It's like that's like, I feel like that's prime time for paranormal. Ugh, here we go with that word. Paranormal time, right? I feel like that's the time where ghosts, just spirits, just come out, and it just happen, just having a good old time. That's why, more often than not, when those times come into play, I be right in the house, or I'm somewhere safe, and I'm not outside. And hopefully you're not outside either. That's all I'm saying. Hopefully you're in your house or somewhere safe, and you sleep, or you just safe, cause 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Nah, especially if you're home alone. Yo, I'm tired. I wonder if y'all can see like the redness in my eyes. Yeah. God. But I wanted to get this video out the way. Okay. It's really hard to focus and while you're tired at the same time. Here we go.
I wish I had done that, though. I was sitting in the U-Bahn, only to realize that I had got the wrong U-Bahn. Probably because I was in a rush and got into the first one I saw. I only noticed at the last stop, which wasn't a problem because I could just go in the opposite direction for about 5 minutes and then get on the other U-Bahn, which would take about 30 minutes. When I got to the last stop, I noticed a guy sleeping. So I woke him up and told him we had arrived.
I wouldn't. No.
This guy looked a bit disoriented and sat in the train. I didn't question it because the train would turn right back around and I was sitting in the U-Bahn for the same reason. This is when the Russian man comes in. He reeked of alcohol and tried to help me wake the guy up, but only after he was awake. He then kept speaking to me in Russian. Now, I don't understand Russian, but I have a lot of Eastern European friends and I can differentiate different Eastern European languages just by hearing them. I can't explain how I know, I just have a talent for it, I guess. The Russian man wouldn't stop talking to me in Russian. By the tone of his voice, he was asking me questions. Creepy questions. Anyone who has come across a creep knows exactly what tone I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He also started laughing every time he stopped talking. I was very uncomfortable, so I told him that I didn't speak Russian. He then laughed and asked me where I was going, what I did that night, etc. I kept my answers short, and after about 3 questions, I told him I didn't speak German very well. I do speak German, but I have an accent when I speak, so I just pretended I don't speak the language in awkward situations. The man then said okay, and I thought that was it. It is important to note that during this conversation, I was standing up and he was sitting down about 8 feet away from me. When the U-Bahn began to move, I decided to sit down because my feet were hurting from earlier that night.
Keep your distance.
I sat away from the man because although he wasn't too much of a problem at that point, I didn't have a good feeling about him at all.
Okay.
Well, my intuition was right because as soon as I sat down, this creep rushed over and sat next to me.
You got me. Sure, come. The clock on. What he just said, that's equivalent. Right? And I know any guy, all guys can relate to this, what I'm about to say. What he said, that's equivalent to you using, fellas, you using a urinal. I think that's what it's called. Like you stand up and you pee in the shits. And you go into the bathroom, you pee in a urinal, right? There's about, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, like 10. So they're all open, right? Including the stalls, like the regular bathroom, toilets. It's about 4 or 5 of them, right? This is a big ass bathroom, right? You have all this open space, all of these. You got regular toilets, and you got several other urinals that you can pee in. Nobody else, just me and the guy that just walked in, comes in and uses the urinal right next to you. At that point, regardless if you finished or not, you put it back in, you zipping it up, you going about your business. Don't even worry about washing your hands. You know, don't just walk out. Just walk out, all nonchalant. And then when you hit that corner, you haul ass like a motherfucker. Who does that? That's disgusting, weird, and creepy. I'm trying to think right now if I've ever been in a situation like that. But I don't. I mean, granted, I'm tired, so my mind isn't really working like that. But I can't remember if I ever had a moment like that. But let me know, fellas, if you ever experienced something like that. And in your mind, you're like, yo, what the?
He wasn't just sitting next to me like a normal person. No. His body was pressed against mine.
Wow.
And pushed me against the edge of the seat.
Wow.
I looked over at Tim and politely asked him to scoot over. He then started speaking Russian again, and I told him I didn't understand what he was saying.
Hit him in the balls.
He then proceeded to grab my hands and squeeze them and tell me they were cold. He said that in Russian, and I only understood it because it was a very basic sentence and my Russian skills are incredibly limited. I told him to stop, and he then looked at me and said sorry. He acted like a child who was forced by their mother to apologize. Keep in mind, he was obviously in his 40s.
I'm not even gonna lie. Ever since he said he was either touching my hands or holding my hands, I stopped. I zoned out. I blocked anything that he said. The narrator said. That's just I don't. Oh my god. Unless I know you, and unless we close, don't just be touching me. Don't touch my hands. Don't put your hands on me. Like, I'm not a germaphobe, but like, I don't know where your hands has been. I don't know what you was doing last night, a couple of hours ago, a couple of minutes ago, a couple of seconds ago. Don't touch me with your hands. Especially if I don't know you and you're a complete stranger and you touch me with your hand. Don't touch me with your hand. Especially, and this has never happened. I know this for a fact because I would have gave you the hands. Don't ever. Okay? You listening, right? Y'all that's watching. Don't ever go into the bathroom. I don't care how long you've been in the bathroom. You can be in the bathroom for half of a second. Don't ever, especially if I see you go into don't ever go into the bathroom, come out, and touch me. You touch me, I'm touching you with all 10 of my Jones. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, I'm not a germaphobe. I'm just trying to be careful. Yeah, hey. So, hey. Just trying to say. You know? Let me know in the comment section if a stranger has ever touched you. And not like no sexual way, like just randomly touched you, or touched you, like a random person, stranger, don't really, just saying, touched you on your neck, on your face, on your arms, rubbed you, and how did you react to that? That person that did that to you, complete stranger, talking about something or some, hey, what you doing? Well, first of all, if you can relate to that, let me know what you did. And if you can't, what would you do if a complete stranger did this to you? You running or you throwing hands?
Said it's okay, but to leave me alone. He then tried to sit closer and grab my hands again. I noticed he had a boner and was starting to guide my hands down.
Disgusting.
I snapped and pulled my hands away and slapped him and yelled, "Stop."
Hit him in
He
the balls.
then looked at me and didn't say anything while I moved to another seat.
Hit him in the balls.
What bothers me the most about what happened is that it had only been less than 5 minutes from when he had sat next to me until I moved to a different spot. There were people sitting close by who saw exactly what happened and no one did anything. I was very shocked. Now, I am 18, but I look to be about 21 to 22 years old.
Sorry.
But that doesn't make it okay for a guy to invade my personal space and act like a creep. I am also upset because people saw what happened and didn't even speak up.
I would have been the
How
same.
were they okay with watching this happen? I have seen people be creeped on before, and I always try to help by pretending to know the person who was uncomfortable. I don't know. It was just a terrible, terrible night.
That would be enough for me to stop taking the subway, or what did you call it? Urban or something?
My parents divorced when I was young. At this period of time, I was living with my mother and her husband. I was in middle school. My father lived in a big city, I'd say about 40 to 50 miles away. It was much more than an hour of driving one way for him to pick me up and drop me off. So that's 4 hours of driving or more in one weekend.
Wow.
For less than 48 hours of visitation. Eventually, my dad's car broke down and I wanted to see him. When I was 11 or 12, I convinced my mom to let me bus there by myself. She would drive me to the bus station a couple of towns over, about 15 to 20 minutes from the rural area where we lived, and drop me off. I would catch one of the few bus options into the city, and once I got downtown, I'd link up with my father. It was an hour-long bus ride. I eventually got very street smart, navigating the city bus station, then the city and its buses to get to my dad. I became really comfortable those hours I would be without either parent. I loved the city, I loved the people, interacting with people. I was also an idiot kid. While waiting for the bus to take me to my dad's city, sometimes I would talk to strangers that engaged me. I never went out of my way to speak to any strangers, but if someone spoke to me, I would respond because I thought I needed to be polite. One time a man walked up to me. He seemed to be of Southeast Asian descent, maybe Filipino, but he had a U.S. accent more than anything else. He looked to be about 23 to 28 years old, actually impossible to tell. He started talking to me as we waited for the bus, and he sounded quite nice at first, had a friendly voice. It was my nature to be polite and give all people the benefit of the doubt. This has bitten me in the butt many times in my life, and I am much more discerning as an adult.
Right.
But this is why I engaged him. I told him my first name, which is very distinctive. I have never met anyone with my name. It's a scientific word, anatomical term.
Wow.
He asked for my phone number, and I gave him my cell phone number, but with one single digit swapped out for a random number. He started asking me personal questions. I lied in many and all of my answers. Lots of pushy, dramatic compliments. "You are such a beautiful girl." Like, wow. "I love looking at you. You are so pretty." "I still can't believe a girl like you loves being my friend." Well, this is the first time we met. He said these things with a childlike sort of innocence sometimes, but he was clearly smart. Other times there were comments that were clearly sexual. I felt I couldn't walk away, because I had to catch my bus. It quickly became apparent to me that he was suffering from some degree of homelessness, and had some sort of social dysfunction, like Asperger's. Didn't pick up
What?
on my discomfort, body language, clear lies, dismissal, annoyed and cautious tone ever. Talked happily and loudly all the time. He also insisted on showing me his artwork, or instrument or something.
Pause.
After I initially met him, I saw him very often catching that same hour-long bus. Probably almost every other time I was waiting for that bus, so as often as twice a month for a while. I really avoided him. Tried. I always tried to get a seat far away from him, let him board the bus first, and others ahead of me, then pick a seat inaccessible to him. I only told him my first name one time, and he remembered it perfectly every single time I saw him from then on. Somehow, eventually, he figured out my correct cell phone number.
Wow.
I was so creeped out.
Yeah.
I had a prepaid phone that my dad bought me. It wasn't registered to anyone's name or on a plan. It refilled with a card, so him getting this number right was really weird. The next I saw him in the city or the bus station, I told him angrily that we could not interact anymore. He took it very badly. I said something along the lines of, "Dude, I'm only 12 years old. I cannot be your friend in any capacity. My dad would be mad at me." I did not see him in person again for many years. I never told my parents about my scary interactions with strangers because I feared that they would not allow me to be in public alone anymore, and I valued that experience and feeling of independence. And here's where it gets weird. A few weeks later, I am at my mom's house and I decide to have a sleepover with a friend who lived 4 blocks away. I was there from maybe 3 p.m. to noon the next day, then I walked home. When I got home, my mother said, "Oh, I got a weird call last night while you were gone. A man named Andrew?" I was thinking, what? She described the way he spoke, and plus the name. I instantly knew who it was. I started freaking out a little bit. How could he have found my mom's home phone number? We have never had the same last name ever, and she was married and didn't even sport her maiden name anymore.
He doing too
I told
much.
my mom who I thought it was and how it was literally impossible for him to have the house phone number. She was creeped out. The number was not listed in any phone books. Then she told me what he said. Apparently this guy told my mom he was a good friend of mine. Yeah, because a little girl has good friends with adult men. And the phone call was an extreme emergency. In his words, I had an accident. I had fallen down a flight or 2 of stairs and broken my neck and was at the hospital right now. He told my mom I needed to go to the hospital immediately. She was really taken aback and didn't really know what to say, and because of his tone and how nervous he sounded, the weird things he said, she didn't take it seriously. She had tried asking more questions and he fumbled over his words. She said the conversation ended very abruptly, awkwardly, just that the whole thing was very strange. To this day I still wonder, how on earth could this person have found my mother and her husband's landline number? Her only 2 last names are very different from mine. How did he get my actual cell phone number when he didn't know my last name? Even if he did, he wouldn't have been able to find my number based on my name. It was practically a burner. Why did he call my mom? Where did that story about me being in the ER critically wounded even come from? Did he make it up so my mom would leave the house?
Foreshadowing.
My husband wonders if he wanted her to come to the hospital. If so, why her and not me? How did he know I wasn't home when he called? Lucky guess. I could have been standing next to my mom when he called her, for all he knew, and then his story would have even more obviously been a lie. Many years later downtown, I ended up moving to the city. I saw a guy who I thought was my homie. I went up to him and did the whole, "Hey man, what's up, long time no see" thing, and as the last word left my lips, I realized it was Andrew.
Oh my
I
God.
realized it as he was recognizing me. It was too late for me to run away. He had grown out his hair. It was long and black, which is why I thought he was the skateboarder friend I had who looked incredibly similar, but was a couple years younger. He now thinks I am greeting him like I missed him, and I swear my stomach dropped. He hugged me before I even had a chance to step back, and it was so touchy-feely, violating. Then he proceeded with lots of, "Wow, girl, you look so good. I can't believe it's you. I miss you so much. Can I have your number so we can spend some time together now?" and I told him I was running late for something and literally ran away. I was paranoid I would see him around again, but thankfully, I never did.
He probably saw you though. You just don't know it. That's all I'm saying. You should have just stayed
This all
calm and
happened when I
called
was a
out.
freshman or sophomore in high school, so I was about 15. I'm 23 now for reference. I ended up being homeschooled in and off during high school due to medical issues and the surgeries I had to get. Usually, if they were available, the school would send my teachers to just tutor me. However, they weren't always available, so they would have to send me randos the district found. While I had a few interesting tutors, this is about one particular tutor, who I'll refer to as Mr. Bird from here on out.
Okay.
Mr. Bird started to tutor me in English, and right away, I got a weird vibe from him. He was in his
And right away, I changed tutors. I mean, you have to listen to your gut as soon as it starts to do that. You know? Listen to your gut, listen to your intestines, listen to your instincts, just listen. It's okay to listen. Sometimes listening is the most important. You know? Wait and listen. You said you got some weird or negative vibe from. Okay. So what you do about it? Nothing. Which I'm guessing. If you don't do nothing, if I'm right and you don't do nothing about it, then I'll get this woman's social medias. Not really her number, because I don't really know her like that. Next time I see her. And I've been noticing her for some time. I don't really know her. I mean, I haven't really seen her like that. Just saying. But like, if I get her, if I'm right and this person in the story doesn't do anything about her creepy tutor, then I'm gonna go ahead and get that. I'm gonna go ahead and get that social media off her, cause she is gorgeous and bad. No butterface. Look like a Ferrero Rocher candy.
I think, and was tall and lanky. He also rode his bike to my house every time he came, which was weird because I didn't live that close to him. This comes up later. Anyway, I don't get to choose who tutors me, so I just went with it.
I would have
A few
chose.
things happened in the couple months he taught me. When I mentioned that I used to play lacrosse, he asked if that was the sport where the girls wear short skirts, and made a comment about how good I must have looked in it. Frequently, he talked about women he had dated in detail many times. One time, he mentioned how he had went to a go-go bar with a friend, and that one of the dancers was someone he had dated. They hooked up at the end, something he kept making barely thin innuendos about. Told me I was too pretty and mature to date boys my age, and that I needed to wait for an older, real man to take care of me. And he bought me a tight t-shirt that I literally ended up throwing out because he creeped me out so much. However, his last tutoring session with me probably takes the cake. We were at my kitchen table. All of the tutoring sessions took place here, and he was talking about something or other when all of a sudden he stopped talking. His eyes closed and his head dropped down. I waited about 2 minutes thinking he was messing with me or something, but when he didn't respond, I panicked and ran upstairs to tell my mom. My mom thought I was exaggerating when I told her I'm pretty sure Mr. Bird died at the table and told me to just go back and wait. I'm in tears at this point and thinking I'm sitting across from a dead body when about 5 minutes later, he wakes back up and continues on with his sentence like nothing happened.
Nah, he
I was
crazy.
so stunned I just didn't say anything. He ended up just not coming back after that, and when my mom called him, some lady picked up and said he was in rehab. Turned out he had a drinking problem and a drug problem and had his license suspended for a DUI, which is why he always rode his bike. My school really did its due diligence when it came to vetting these people, it appears. I got a new tutor who was more normal.
You
I
sure?
was worried for a while that, since he knew where I lived, that he would come back and kidnap me with a sidecar for his bike, but I'm still here. My mom saw him at the grocery store once, where he asked her for money for beer. Thankfully, she declined.
You didn't really do anything though.
Hey friends,
So
thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, our Let's Read official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear it featured here on the channel. And grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt.com. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends, and I'll see you again soon.
yeah, you didn't really do anything. So I guess I gotta get her social medias. Her name is Jamie, I think. She is so she is so gorgeous. And she's fine. Sexy. Tell you what, this is how you know I'm gonna get, if I'll let you know, I'm gonna let y'all know through social media if I got her social media. I'm gonna post a picture of a J. I'm not gonna say her name because that's gonna be obvious. So when I get her social medias, I'm gonna post on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. I'm gonna post a J, the letter J. And when you see that, just thank me. Comment, just be like, congratulations. I'm glad you did it. Hooray for you. You the boy, you the MVP. All right? Because I'm going to get that. 2 times I've seen her and we were talking. But both times we were talking, she was sending out vibes. I was sending out vibes like, I wanted to kick it one day. Now, I don't know if she has a boyfriend or not, but that's besides the point. But she don't act like it though, so that's all I'm saying. But man, I think the moral of this story is be careful who you let in your house, and be careful about who you live near, because thank God I haven't had no neighbors ever, and till this day, still to this day, I don't have any creepy, weird, suspicious neighbors. And I don't know what I would do if I did. God forbid, right? But it's not always the young people that be doing some clucked up stuff. It's not always the middle-aged people. It's just people in general. And one of the worst things you can do is think and cancel out old people, the elderly, as if they can never do no wrong. As if just because they old, that they're fragile, sensitive, they don't really have, they're not that strong. Don't their mind doesn't work a certain way. Like, nah. Just because they old don't mean shit. So, don't rule nobody out. You know? That's all I'm saying. You know, if you live next to somebody and they have 3 cats, that's suspicious. All I'm saying is that's a little sus. Who has 3 cats? I can see if he had like 2. You know, 4. But an odd number of cats? No. That's a dead giveaway. That's a red flag right there. That's a, man, 3 cats. 3 cats. 3 cats. Wow. If I ever meet somebody with 3 cats, get away, get the hell away from me, please. 3 cats. 3 cats. I ain't messing with it. Nope. But yeah, man. I'm so tired that I kind of forgot the stories that I just listened to. Oh my god. I just need a rest. I worked like 24/7. But I'm okay. I'm good. I know how to pace myself, kind of. Sometimes I just like working myself, you know, to a certain point. I know that's not healthy, but, you know, I do that like every now and then. I used to, like, the video is basically over. I'm just talking right now. But when I was a couple years ago, I used to just work that seemed like non-stop. And the only way I would get sleep is when my body basically said, okay, body, like, you had enough. Like, I'm making you go to sleep right now. And you're not gonna wake up until like 15 hours later. Like, you're not about to destroy this body. You're not about to stress this body out. You did that once. You're not doing this again. So, even though I work pretty much every day, no matter what I'm doing, I'm always working. I know how to pace myself. You know? And like I said, every now and then, I would work so much that I would end up crashing in the middle of my working. But yeah. Whew. Like right now, I'm so tired that the second I put my head on this pillow, I'm going to sleep. Whew. But yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. I just need some rest. As you can tell how red my eyes are. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy. My family.